President is required by the Constitution to compose a cabinet. And that cabinet, once composed, must begin regular meetings to fashion out policy and determine the direction of governance. So, as a first requirement, President Mahama has composed his cabinet. And as you may be aware, the constitutional requirement is that cabinet must be made up of 19 ministers. And so the first point of business is to put together this body of 19 ministers, chaired by the president himself. And I would proceed to announce the names of the 19 ministers who form the cabinet. First on the list is the Minister for Finance, the Minister for the Interior, Minister for Health, Minister for Defense, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, the Minister for Education, the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Minister for Food and Agriculture, Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations, the Minister for Roads and Highways, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Minister for Works, Housing and Water Resources, Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Minister for Transport, Minister for Labor, Jobs and Employment. So these are the 19 ministers who form cabinet together with the president. Now, apart from these 19 ministers, other ministers are made to attend. And so you find that the description for that would be in attendance. So the following ministers were in attendance at cabinet today. So the Minister of Sports and Recreation, the Minister of Youth Development and Empowerment, the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Minister of State in charge of special initiatives, and my good self, the Minister for State responsible for government communications, the Minister of State for Climate Change and Sustainability, and Minister of State Public Sector Reforms. So this essentially is the composition of those who attended cabinet today, in addition to the cabinet ministers. Now, today's session primarily was to introduce cabinet and ensure that people have a handle on what exactly the expectation is of them in cabinet. The ground rules were set out, and important briefings on matters relating to governance took place. There were a number of briefings. The first, of course, as should be expected, was a briefing on security, the state of security in the country. So the Minister for the Interior, the Minister for Defense, and the National Security Coordinator took turns to brief cabinet on the security situation in the country. And the general view emanating from the briefing was that Ghana's security was strong. We are a safe country, and people are free to go about their normal activities without let or hindrance. And whatever threats exist, our security agencies have the capacity to deal with. So Ghana was declared safe from the briefings that were made at cabinet today. The second briefing was made by the presidential advisor on the 24-hour economy and accelerated export development, Mr. Okudzeto. He briefed cabinet on preparations so far towards a full rollout of the 24-hour economy. And one was left with the impression that tremendous work had gone into what is arguably President Mahama's foremost transformation plan, which aims to convert the Ghanaian economy from its present state into one that never sleeps and works around the clock. The briefing from Mr. Tano and his team shows, I beg your pardon, that we are on course to ensuring a smooth takeoff. And in due course, the 24-hour secretariat would be engaging the Ghanaian media so that through you, they can apprise the people of Ghana as to where things stand. And the president and everybody else in cabinet was highly confident that based on the roadmap that had been established, we were on course to achieving the objective of having a 24-hour economy. The final briefing was made by the minister responsible for finance. As you may be aware, we campaigned strongly on Ghana's failing economy. And indeed, our fears were borne out when the finance minister made his briefing. The situation is dire. The numbers are even worse than we had known in the period of the elections. But the minister, the president, and others involved in the management of the economy were confident that the proposals, the policy propositions, and the program that President Mahama has put on the table were sufficient to turn around the situation and lift the pall of economic hardship and despair that has hung over this country and its people all these years under the new Presidential Party, where economic mismanagement and imprudent decision-making was commonplace. In a few days' time, President Mahama will be addressing Parliament. He will be delivering a message on the state of the nation to Parliament, and he will take the opportunity to delve deep into our current economic state, what we inherited, and what plans there are going forward to ensure economic revival and resuscitation. A few days after that, the National Economic Dialogue will take place from the 3rd to 4th March, and there too, various stakeholders in our economy, drawn from academia, civil society organizations, public servants, public officials, and other interested parties in the Ghanaian economy will meet to deliberate on the state of affairs. And there too, further insights will be shared on the state of the economy and how we can collectively achieve consensus on the steps that need to be taken to ensure that we get out of the situation and are on the road to rapid economic growth and development. And then on the 11th of March, the finance minister will present his first budget, which would again explain the situation and indicate what government's policies are in respect of the economy and what measures will be rolled out going forward to achieve the objective of getting us out of this economic mess. So this, in a nutshell, is what transpired in cabinet today. I would